Welcome to Iraqi Dinar News, where you receive real and authentic updates about the Iraqi dinar. If you want to stay informed with moment-by-moment developments, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video. In today's discussion, we're taking a careful and professional look at a widely circulated sentiment within the Iraqi dinar community. An opinion that expresses absolute certainty that the dinar will revalue, supported by long-term holding conviction, and a belief that each passing day brings that outcome closer. This perspective is not uncommon among long-term holders, and it reflects a mix of patience, personal belief, and interpretation of ongoing developments in Iraq's economy. However, as always on this channel, our goal is to step back from emotional certainty and examine what can be verified, what can be reasonably expected, and what remains uncertain in the broader financial and economic context. Let's begin by addressing the core claim, the idea that the Iraqi dinar is going to revalue with complete certainty. In financial markets, certainty is extremely rare. Even the most stable global currencies are influenced by a wide range of variables, including monetary policy, political stability, global trade conditions, and investor confidence. When it comes to the Iraqi dinar, the situation is even more complex because Iraq is an emerging economy that is still undergoing structural reforms after decades of conflict, sanctions, and economic volatility. The belief expressed in the statement is rooted in long-term holding behavior. Many individuals who have held Iraqi dinar for years, sometimes over a decade, have developed a strong conviction that a significant currency revaluation will eventually occur. This conviction is often reinforced by Iraq's vast natural resources, particularly oil, and the country's strategic position in global energy markets. Iraq does have one of the largest proven oil reserves in the world, and oil exports remain the backbone of its economy. This creates a perception that the currency is undervalued relative to the country's resource wealth. However, it's important to understand that a country's natural resources alone do not determine its currency value. Exchange rates are influenced by a combination of factors including productivity, inflation, fiscal discipline, foreign reserves, trade balance, and the credibility of financial institutions. Iraq's economy, while resource-rich, still faces significant challenges such as dependency on oil revenues, limited diversification, infrastructure gaps, and governance issues. Now let's examine the idea that every day that goes by, we are one day closer to a revaluation. While this statement may feel intuitive, it does not necessarily reflect how currency adjustments actually occur. Exchange rate changes, especially significant ones, are not simply a matter of time passing. They are the result of deliberate policy decisions by central banks, often in coordination with broader economic reforms. The Central Bank of Iraq plays a key role in managing the dinar's value, and its primary objectives include maintaining price stability, controlling inflation, and ensuring financial system stability. In recent years, Iraq has taken steps toward economic reform. These include efforts to modernize the banking sector, improve transparency in financial transactions, and stabilize the exchange rate. There was also a notable adjustment in the official exchange rate in late 2020 when the dinar was devalued against the US dollar to address fiscal pressures caused by falling oil prices. This move highlights an important point. Currency changes can go in either direction depending on economic conditions. The mention of real-time exciting things happening is another aspect worth analyzing. There have indeed been developments in Iraq that could be seen as positive indicators. These include increased oil revenues during periods of high global oil prices, ongoing discussions about economic diversification, foreign investment initiatives, and infrastructure projects. Additionally, Iraq has been working to strengthen its relationships with international financial institutions and improve compliance with global banking standards. However, while these developments are encouraging, they should not be interpreted as direct signals of an imminent large-scale currency revaluation. Economic progress is typically gradual, and structural reforms take time to translate into measurable currency strength. For a significant appreciation of the dinar to occur, Iraq would likely need sustained economic growth, reduced reliance on oil, stronger private sector development, and continued improvements in governance and financial transparency. From a short-term perspective, the Iraqi dinar is expected to remain relatively stable within the managed exchange rate framework set by the central bank. Sudden or dramatic increases in value are unlikely, without major shifts in economic fundamentals or policy direction. Stability, rather than rapid appreciation, is generally the priority for emerging market central banks, as it helps maintain investor confidence and economic predictability. In the long term, there is potential for gradual strengthening of the currency if Iraq successfully implements its reform agenda. This would depend on factors such as diversifying the economy beyond oil, improving infrastructure, enhancing the business environment, and maintaining political stability. Long-term investors often focus on these fundamentals rather than expecting rapid or guaranteed returns. It's also important to address the psychological aspect of long-term holding. When someone has held an asset for many years, there can be a natural tendency to reinforce the belief that the investment will eventually pay off. This is a common phenomenon in financial markets and is not unique to Iraqi dinar holders. While conviction can be valuable, it should always be balanced with objective analysis and an understanding of risk. Another key point to consider is opportunity cost. The statement mentions alternative investments such as real estate or cryptocurrencies. Every investment decision involves trade-offs, and different asset classes carry different risk and return profiles. The Iraqi dinar is a highly speculative investment compared to more traditional assets, and it does not generate income like real estate or dividends like stocks. This makes it particularly important for investors to maintain realistic expectations and diversify their portfolios where possible. For those following the Iraqi dinar closely, the most constructive approach is to stay informed about verified economic data and policy developments. This includes monitoring oil prices, government budgets, central bank announcements, inflation rates, and progress on economic reforms. These indicators provide a more reliable basis for understanding the currency's trajectory than personal belief or sentiment alone. It's also worth noting that misinformation and exaggerated claims can sometimes circulate within niche investment communities. Statements that express absolute certainty or guaranteed outcomes should always be approached with caution. Financial markets are inherently uncertain, and responsible analysis involves acknowledging both opportunities and risks. As we look ahead, the key question is not whether a revaluation is guaranteed, but under what conditions the Iraqi dinar could strengthen over time. This shifts the focus from speculation to fundamentals. If Iraq continues to stabilize its economy, attract investment, and implement reforms, there is a pathway to gradual currency appreciation. However, this process is likely to be measured in years rather than days or weeks. In conclusion, the belief that the Iraqi dinar will revalue is a perspective held by many long-term investors, but it should be evaluated within the context of economic realities and policy frameworks. While there are positive developments in Iraq's economy, they do not currently support the expectation of an immediate or guaranteed revaluation. A balanced, informed approach is essential for anyone following this market. Thank you for watching Iraqi Dinar News. If you want to stay updated with responsible, factual, and professional analysis, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video. And as always, remember that this content is for informational purposes only and should not be considered financial advice.